So these right here are one of my childhood favorites, Fig Newtons, and I've done two different kinds. I've done my classic Fig Newtons and my strawberry Fig Newtons, healthy vegan style, no oil, no wheat, no refined sugar. They're absolutely delicious, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own. All right, so if you're tuning in for the first time, what I do is I make healthy vegan versions of traditional dishes using no oil, no wheat, no refined sugar, and no rice. Today I am doing a recipe request. Someone wrote me and asked me if I could make Fig Newtons. And you know, back in the day, I was a fan of Fig Newtons. I used to eat them all the time. So I was like, this could be self-serving too. So I'm going to make Fig Newtons today, and I'm going to make two kinds. We're going to make the classic Fig Newtons using figs, and then we're going to make some strawberry Fig Newtons too. So two kind of Fig Newtons. Let's talk about what we're going to use to make them. On the classic figs, what else will we use? We're using figs, and we're using an orange. We're going to use some water, combine these things. And these simple ingredients is what we're going to use to make the filling for our Fig Newtons. Let's get to it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get my figs cut in half here. Okay, so now I'm using dry black mission figs, but you could use Turkish figs or even fresh figs for this recipe. Now I'm going to cut the figs in half, and this will help the figs cook and soften more easily. Now, rather than using orange juice for this recipe, I'm blending the whole peeled orange so I don't lose the fiber. Then it's just a matter of combining all the ingredients in the saucepan and allow it to simmer and cook down until the mixture is nice and thick. Now, this process can take about 30 to 40 minutes, so prepare to be patient. All right, so now I've finished cooking my my fig mixture down, and I've got it nice and thick to the point that I want it. I want you to see what it looks like here. As you can see, the figs are nice and soft and it's thick. And so now it's just a matter of letting this, we're gonna remove the heat and just let these cool down. It's very important that you get them nice and cool before you start blending them. So I'm gonna move them aside and let them cool now. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe below. Okay, so now I process my fig filling. I wanted you to get an idea for the consistency of it. You can see here that it's thick, but it still has kind of a, gelatinous kind of look to it, just like, a classic Fig Newton does. So I'm really happy with this, and this is what we're going to use to go into our cookie dough. Okay, so now I've got my filling from my classic Fig Newtons made and set aside. And now we're going to turn our attention to making our strawberry filling for our strawberry Fig Newtons. And it's pretty much the same process. We're going to use figs, we're going to use strawberries, some vanilla, and then some water. Same process. We're going to get them in our pot and boil them down. Let's start putting this together. Okay, so I'm using frozen strawberries, but you could certainly use fresh strawberries and they will work as well. Now the process is the same as the plain fig bars. Now I'm going to cook it down until the mixture is nice and thick, but it'll take a little longer than the figs because the strawberries contain more water. All right, so now I've got my strawberry filling, much like I did with the fig filling. I just cooked it down. You see it starts to thicken here, and this is what we want. And then I'm going to set this aside. Same process as last time. I'm going to set it aside, let it completely cool, and then I'll blend it, and we'll have both of our fillings ready to put into our cookie dough. Okay, so now just as I did with the fig filling, we're going to get our strawberry filling into our processor and get it mixed up. Okay, so now we have both of our fillings set aside and prepared, and now we're going to turn our attention to making the cookie part of our Fig Newtons. And let me tell you what we're going to use to do that. We're going to use some oat flour, some almond flour, some date paste, some vanilla, some baking powder, and some cashew butter. So these are ingredients we're going to use to put together the cookie. Let's do that now. Okay, so first I'm going to get my dry ingredients in the bowl and get them mixed up. Then we'll get the wet ingredients mixed, and then we'll combine them. Now I found that a combination of oat and almond flour works best for these fig bars. This cookie dough results in a nice soft cookie, just like the ones that are store-bought, but without all the junk. All right, and now for our wet ingredients. So while I'm mixing my wet ingredients, I want you to think about how simplistic these ingredients are. And now I want you to look at an ingredient list on a store-bought pack of Fig Newtons. It has things like preservatives, food coloring, artificial flavors, invert sugar, palm oil. The list goes on and on. This is why I consider this a healthy vegan option. All right, guys, so now it's time to get my dough rolled out. So I'm going to just take the dough that we put together here earlier. I'm gonna get it onto parchment paper. You've been watching my videos, you know that I prefer to roll things between parchment paper. Makes the process a lot easier as far as them sticking. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna get this in here. So I'm rolling the dough out between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch thick. Now you want to make sure that you're rolling your dough out evenly so that all your cookies have an even layer of cookie dough all the way around. Now as I roll this out, I'm trying to be careful and mindful to maintain a rectangular shape. All right, so what I've been doing here is getting my dough rolled out nice and smooth, nice and flat like you see here. And as I go, I'm taking off the top layer of parchment paper and I'm looking. And as it starts to, the sides and the edges start to get uneven, I just use a pizza cutter like this just to roll and cut it so I can keep everything nice and symmetrical. And that's important because when we go to make them into our little fig cookies, we want them to be nice and rectangular and have nice edges. So we want it to start this way so that when we cut it in half and fold it over, everything is symmetrical. So that's what I've been doing. And now let's go to the next step. All right, so now I've got my dough cut in half, and this is 1/2 of the strip right here. And now what I'm gonna do is I'll take my filling and just go straight down the center of this and leave about equal spacing on each side. Now, if you prefer a slightly thicker filling, you can simply cook your mixture longer. Now here I'm adding the filling to the center of my rolled dough. I am using parchment paper to lift the sides of the dough and bring them together. Then I'm going to gently use the parchment paper to turn my roll over so the seam is under the roll. Now using a sharp knife, I am cutting my roll into equal size cookies. Then it's time to transfer them to the baking sheet that's lined with parchment paper. All right, so now we've got all of our fig Newtons cut and placed on our tray. We're gonna get them in the oven now and give them a quick bake. And while we do that, we'll get our strawberry fig Newtons ready for the oven also. All right, so I'm repeating the same process with my strawberry filling, and then I'll get these in the oven as well. All right, guys, so here's the finished result. We've got our plain figs and our strawberry, and they all look delicious. Amazing how you can recreate things healthy vegan style. And this definitely looks authentic. I used to eat them all the time. And the taste is on point too. And keep in mind, I did strawberry, but you can do any flavor that you want. Classic, strawberry, blueberry, they all work, same process. Gotta make these really good. So if you're new to my channel and you're wondering how to find the recipes to the cooking shows like the one you just watched, look below the video and tap on the word more. And then you'll see the beginning of the recipe. Tap on the word more a second time and you'll see the full recipe. And then you can begin to make your own. Thanks for watching.